Welcome to this 35th video. We're going to get the lights working on the back of the car. The lights on. Brake lights. Indicate left. Indicating right. Yeah, baby! If only it was that simple. That's like the Instagram version. Now we're going to go into what it actually took to get those working. So first of all, there's a connection at the front of the chassis. The cable goes in through the chassis, pops up at the front, on the front of the bulkhead here, and that's what I've connected up here in this part of the video. This is the back and the fuel level sender. So that's fuel level sender, and then we're left with 4 wires, which is left, right indicator, brake, and side light. In the chassis was a wire which went through to the back. You can see it there, go disappearing into the chassis here. Look. That serves the back lights, so those 4 wires. While I was doing the chassis, I pulled through the damaged one. It got hot and it burned out, so replaced the whole thing with this, which is a trailer towing cable. It's nice thick insulation. It's got 7 cores in it. So I'm going to keep 3 in spare, like so, and then I'm going to splice these 4 into those 4 coming out of there. That's it. Now I cut the 4 wires, make sure they're slightly offset so that there's not a huge bulk, and I used heat shrink butt crimps to connect them all together. Very nice permanent solution. I've used it all over my scimitar, about 400 of the things. If only it were that simple, but there were still problems. The lights weren't working, so there was some cable work to do back here behind the lights themselves, and I also put in a little connector to disconnect the entire tub from the chassis should that be needed in the future. There's all kinds of clutter in here, a lot more of it. And down here there's all sorts of different repairs. There's my cable coming out of the chassis, which is its 7 ends with the 3 spares. And there's this mess here, which is where it used to connect, and there's another wire added in here. And there, I've got to go pull all this down and have a good look through it. I've got the whole loom out now, which makes a lot more sense. And I've got quite a bit of this trailer wire I've put through the chassis, so there's plenty of room to work up here, which is nice. I've been through this, I've checked for continuity. There is a burned out wire, but it is up at this end only, which is the right hand side lights. There's no damage from here down, and there's quite a bit of excess. I'm getting rid of these and I'm going to swap them for spade connectors. They're all corroded to hell. So I've tested the loom from here down. It's actually perfect because the rest of the wire is intact. So what I'm doing now, this end I've taken out as well, obviously, so I've whipped those light connectors off. I'm not happy with these. Well, the loom is good. These connectors are no good, so I'm going to swap them all for brand new spades and on the lights, and here and here. And then this end I'm putting in one of these Bosch style waterproof connectors because it's behind the back wheel, and there's 4 I need, and then there'll be 2 spare because it's a 6-pin. So I'll wire in the 2 spare as well and just have them on a separate piece of cable here. Look, this is the one I'm wiring in. So if you need a wire, you just cut it and use it. That way all the lights can stay, and for the sake of a few bolts the tub could be unbolted and disconnected there electrically, which makes it nice and simple. Is the tub loom. It starts with a connector. It goes to here. I'm going to cut that off and replace it with spades when I get them. So I can fit this to the tub now, and on the other end it goes all the way through, and these rain connectors I'm going to replace with spades as well. So that's ready to fit now. And then this here is the chassis loom, which I can stuff back into the chassis so there's hardly any sticking out. They're both fully labelled. You can see the green labels, they're all hidden away under the black now. Terminated with cable ties so that stuff can't come off, that black tape can't come off. And it is a perfectly sealed, waterproof, when I push that one back in, waterproof connector, which means the tub and the chassis can be separated for a few seconds of disconnecting. I'm pretty tough for that. A little bit of modernisation for the old vehicle. So this is the new number plate light, and it only comes with these terminals here, and then these little the male version, which you can slide in and out. You can see it moving there. So they supply you with that, but there's no cable, so the earth will be screwed in there. Well, I might screw an earth to it, I don't know yet. And then I've soldered that internally now. Can you see it? Can you see it? There we go. Yeah, I've soldered that internally. Hard to see inside, but it's gone. I put quite a bit in. So that should slot back in there. So it's got a bit of extra solder on it now. Yeah, there you go. And I can shove that through there. And she's hot to trot. And that's what it took to actually get to this point. So here we go, testing the lights once again. Yeah, baby! With that done, one more little thing for this video is the fuel sender. I did a little test of the fuel sender to make sure the gauge here was working. And I'll show you how I did that. It's a nice simple way of doing it, in fact. You don't want to fill the thing up with petrol, that's the trouble, and find the gauge doesn't work. You want to know before you've got any fuel in that tank. What you can do is test your fuel level sender before you put the whole thing together, because once it's full of fuel it's a bit more of a faff. So here's what I did. Ignition on for a while, so I disconnected the coil and the alternator, so those don't burn out or do anything daft. I took the level thing out because that was easy, sorry, the pickup tube out, and then I've used one of the battery clamps, this one here, and you can just get it in there, don't for goodness sake drop it, and you can hook the sender up and you can pull it up like this, so you can show a full tank. It takes a while for the gauge to catch up, but it did get very nearly full before I got bored, and then I dropped it to what I thought might have been halfway, and the gauge went halfway and then all the way to the bottom. So that's great, that works. This particular vehicle does not have a fuel light, so that one's not connected, and apparently the earth is through the screws in the tank and the chassis, so it's a single wire. So I'm really pleased that's working. That's it for this 35th video. We are getting towards the end now. As you can see, I've got the roof on now, and that's coming in a future video, and we'll get that engine started shortly. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Tune in for the next one.